Hey guys, Miss Not So Cool here, and today we're going to continue on with Skights. I had to replay the game again, and this time we're just gonna refuse to say sorry. Because, I don't know, I want to see what other path I can get through this. If it's still gonna lead me to Colon, or we get something else. Let's see. The sting of betrayal pierced my heart. How could Colon be defending them? But they were the ones who wouldn't leave me alone. So you just decide to use violence against them? Two wrongs don't make a right, Nessie. I thought you, of all people, would know that. The girls all nodded in unison. I was at a loss of words. Colin turned back to the girls. Now, do any of you beautiful ladies know where she can stay and rest? Oh yes, there's a doctor. Their voices faded away as I tried to assimilate the current situation. Colin was siding with them, defending them. As he lifted the unconscious girl up in his arms, the girls swooned, crowding around him for his attention. They looked so happy talking with him without me there. Colin never called me beautiful. He always flattered the other girls, never me. Even now he was helping them instead of his so-called family. His sister. I couldn't stay here. I turned around, running the other direction. Nessie, where are you going? Colin, we should really take her to the doctor. Yes. Colin's eyes continued to follow my figure until I had disappeared into the crowd, impersonable from his sight. He spent another moment contemplating over me before he turned his attention back to the girls. Alright. Night had come. Darkness. Alright, I think this is basically all we read. Yeah. Exactly how did it appear? If I remember correctly, the source of it came from my... Yeah, that's right. I pulled the little white knife from my pocket. What are you? Fingers twisting the little utensil, I examined it carefully. Now it looked like any other ordinary butter knife, with no hint of magical energy stored or otherwise embedded inside. Could it possibly be in a dormant state? Sigh. I tucked it back into my breast pocket. The night may still be young, but I should start pruning soon. Nessie? Huh? Over my shoulder I could see a figure concealed in the shadow beneath a willow tree. I recognized the pink cotton candy immediately. I guess it doesn't change. Colin! I took off heading towards the opposite direction. Nessie, wait! He grabbed my arm. Please, let's talk. Let go of me. He watched my face, carefully hesitating. Will you promise not to run? I jerked my arm away. Keeping my face to the ground, I made sure not to look at him. As he retracted his hand, Colin continued to watch me with concern out of his face. Why are you avoiding me? I'm not. I'm really busy, Colin. The Crown Prince is coming tomorrow and I have to clean up the Vanilla Park Gardens. But you haven't done anything yet. That's beside the point. It's already the evening now. And? I didn't want to look at him. Nessie, tell me what's wrong. Nothing. He placed his hand over my shoulder. I didn't brush it off. Why? Why don't you ever tell me I'm beautiful? Alright, it's about the same. Huh? Excuse me? Is that what you thought this whole time? He let go of my shoulder, turning the other way. Colin was leaving. That bitch! I mean, seriously, you're just gonna leave us? Man, I guess that's different. I watched him leave as he disappeared into the garden flora. The leaves swallowed him up into the shadows as he left, and I was alone again. That's me. The sting of rejection suddenly came back, biting my chest. I tried to pay attention to shearing the bushes, but the heavy feeling in my chest distracted me. I cut my fingers over several thorns as I sheared. I had to stop. Slumping down against the tree, I tried to focus my attention on a vanilla lily. But the tears came pouring down anyway. Oh, Nessie, don't cry. I mean, you can cry, but it's gonna be okay. Why won't somebody hold me and tell me that I matter to them? You matter. Is it really that much to ask for, to be a part of somebody's life and to be of some importance to them? That if I was gone, I'd mar some bit of joy in their everyday lives? Is that really too much to ask for? I wipe my tears away. I should probably go clean up the fountain before I get back sharing. Well, that was sad. The fountain water sparkled in the moonlight. Some droplets fell into my hair as I passed by, sweeping the leaves away with my rake. That should be everything. Strange though, something wasn't right. Usually there were only fallen leaves in the fountain area, but I was also sweeping up flower petals. Could there be some stray animals eating the flowers? Someone was here. Hello? My eyes darted around the fountain, then to the bushes and finally the trees. Nothing. Oh well. I went back to sweeping. Sigh. All of this would have never happened today if I'd stayed quiet and let those girls have their little gossip. They probably didn't really mean half of what they said anyway. What harm could they have possibly done by saying a few teasing words? The best outcome really might have been to stay quiet and let them have their way. Honestly, why couldn't I just be quiet and control myself? I always overreact over these silly things. Except, was it really my fault? Am I really such a bad person? Am I the one who was wrong? My tears spilled over, trailing down my cheeks. Shaking my head, I wiped down away with my sleeve. It was getting wet and wrinkly. Why are you crying? I jumped, turning around. I saw a figure hidden in the shadows. There was somebody here. Excuse me, sir, the Vanilla Park Gardens is closed. Visitors shouldn't be here right now. Yes, but are you alright, miss? The figure emerged. As he approached, the shadows melted away, revealing his fine features. Is he like a demon? He has like very red piercing eyes. I wouldn't trust that. Then again, we have like beige yellow eyes. I don't know. Kind of look like the same color as this thing here. Weird. Quite weird indeed. Pitch black hair shines darkly against the moonlight, and a pair of red eyes stood out like rubies in the night. It took me a while to regain my composure. What are you crying about, miss? I looked down, hiding my face as he began to approach me. Did he really see me crying? The Vanilla Park Garden is closed. I will have to ask you to leave. Miss, you don't seem well. Didn't you hear me the first time? He stopped. Oh no, I stopped again. What was wrong with me today? As you wish. With one swift turn of his cape, he began walking away. Everyone's leaving us. Should we stop him? Should we let him leave? I don't know. I mean, stop him maybe? He was almost out of sight now. Wait! He stopped, looking over his shoulder. He eyed me carefully. I'm sorry, I'm so rude. I had a bad day, so... What was I saying? I was rambling nonsense to some random stranger. I'd probably say something stupid. Nothing good ever comes out of my mouth. Maybe I should just shut up now, in case I make a fool of myself again. Besides, I've said too much today already. Every time I open my mouth, more trouble comes than it's always worth. I went back to sweeping. Would it feel better to talk about it? My lips were sealed. Letting it out is always better than leaving it in. The stranger smiled with kind eyes. It was hard to doubt his words, especially his gentle demeanor. It's really nothing, well, people say nasty things about people all the time, and I just happen to be one of the many victims. He waited for me to continue. Contrary to what he expected, I turned my attention away, back to the ground as I swept. I was hoping for him to be discouraged enough to give up and leave, but that didn't seem to happen quite yet. What's your name? My name, it's... Why am I hesitating? I would have said Nessie, but... My name is Vanessa. But everyone just calls me Nessie for short, so... Do you want me to call you Nessie? I shook my head. I actually prefer Vanessa to Nessie. But everyone just started calling me by Nessie, so my voice trailed off. I was conflicted over asking him to call me by my name, if the name I wanted, or the name that everyone else calls me by. And why are you crying? Well, many girls say nasty things about me, so every once in a while I have to cry. He continued to listen to me in silence. Encouraged, I forced a smile as I continued. I don't know how to make them stop. I'm scared that if I try anything more, it'll just get worse. Why couldn't I be an inkling more confident in myself and tell them to fudge off? But maybe that's why those girls pick on me, because I'm such a weak and pathetic person. The mysterious stranger in black continued to watch me, probing every inch of my face with his eyes. It was hard not to shy away from the intensity of his stare. You are weak. I froze. A weak, pathetic, helpless little girl. Hopeless little girl. You keep expecting someone to help you, to save you from your misery, but nobody will give two rotten pies about you. Your whining will get you nowhere in life. Hasn't gotten you anywhere now, has it? It struck a nerve inside me. Why would anyone want to help some pathetic little girl when she's too afraid to even ask others to call her by her real name? Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, that could have gone better. Oops. Oops. Maybe we should have stayed with Colin or something. Don't call me weak. I'm not a weak, pathetic little girl. I'm strong and confident and... Oh, gosh. I don't know. Yeah, I got the bad ending, didn't I? What happens if I just... I don't want to skip. What happens if I just... I don't know. What is happening right now? What? Hold on a second. Okay, so we're back again. Sorry for that little freak out I had. I legitimately thought I fucked up and got the bad ending, but apparently as I kept going, I restarted. Well, I didn't restart, I just refreshed and went back to my last save point from what my computer remembered, which was with the colon scene when I refuse him and then forward. So I tried the other version where I just let him leave. So apparently this is the path to go for him to insult me, which is odd, but okay, we're gonna see where this goes. I'm gonna read him. Okay, here we go. You are weak. I froze. A weak, pathetic, hopeless little girl. You keep expecting someone to help you, to save you from your misery, but nobody will give two rotten pies about you. Your whining will get you nowhere in life and it hasn't gotten you anywhere now, has it? You struck a nerve inside me. Why would anybody want to help some pathetic little girl when she's too afraid to even ask others to call her by her real name? His words sent a sharp pang through me. I stood there blind and dumbfounded as I began to realize the harsh reality of his words. I'm not weak, but I was. I've been depending on Colin this whole time, waiting for him to stand up for me against those girls. But Colin won't help me. He doesn't value me any more than a childhood friend. So who was I waiting for this whole entire time? Nobody. Just a figment of my imagination. Tears swelled in my eyes once more. I tried my best to not let them spill over or fester them any more than it already was. But despite that, they continued to build. I'm not weak. I'm... My hands tightened into a fist. Don't call me weak. I'm not a weak, pathetic little girl. I'm strong, confident, and... My voice hitched, automatically faltering on the next words before I spoke. And don't call me Nessie. With that, the pools of water spilled over in my eyes. Tears poured down my face like a waterfall as I cried even harder than before. I could feel my heart convulse in excruciating bliss. It was finally set free. In vain I covered my tear-stained face. Even as I tried to hide my pathetic state, I knew that it was hopeless. The heavy weight on my chest had been lifted, and my shameless state had been revealed for all to see. I wonder what he thought of me now. The truth to be told, I didn't care. Opening my eyes for a moment in his direction, I took a glimpse at him. Guilt clouded over his features, though I was certain it was some sort of cruel illusion. How could he possibly have any compassion left after saying such cruel things? From the very beginning, he deliberately devised this kind-hearted, gentleman-like performance in order to pry on me. Please. He reached over to me, wavering a moment before his hand curled around my shoulder. I flinched away from the unfamiliarity of the stranger's touch, and it wasn't before he finally detached himself from me had I finally calmed down. Sorry, I said too much. I refused to give him the satisfaction of my forgiveness. I was still angry over his false sentimentality, but even I had to acknowledge the truth of his words. Everything he said was right. My eyes swelled again with tears. I raised up my sleeve, ready to wipe away the coming droplets, but before I could, a pair of hands reached out to brush them off. They lingered there for a while, resisting against my skin. Beautiful girls shouldn't cry. He held me in his hands. Surely he could see the red creeping along the surface of my skin, building into a bright red glow. It was hard not to turn away from the piercing red eyes boring into my own. Who are you? My question interrupted his appraisal, but no answer came forth. What's your name? He remained silent. Moments later, his lips stretched into a mysterious smile. You'll find out soon enough. He released me. Deliberately caressing his fingers across the surface of my cheeks, he made sure to have his fill before losing contact with my skin. Then, with a long stride of his legs, the stranger stepped away, disappearing down the path. Bye, Vanessa. I stood in the dark, hearing the slow rush of fountain water. The night flushed with a warm red glow, or maybe that was just a blush lingering on my face. He was gone. The fountain returned to its normal atmosphere once more, and I stood alone in the dark with my rake standing on top of a pile of stray leaves. As the stars twinkled quietly in the night sky, my thoughts turned to that mysterious stranger. What kind of sugar was he? I'd never seen that skin color before, and his eyes looked like a pair of red cherries. Cherry. The Cherry dynasty bloodline died out almost 1,000 years ago. Didn't the licorice bloodline mix with cherry after the first licorice king married the last cherry princess? Wait a minute. Could that have been... No, I'm being silly. Why would the prince come to a place like this? Stop being so silly. I really should focus on more important things, like cleaning up the fountain and pruning the bushes for tomorrow, when the real prince will come. It was going to be a long night. Boy, that was one emotional roller coaster. The morning light greeted my eyes quite harshly. Yarn. Maybe I wasn't ready to wake up just yet. I could still feel the strain of my muscles from last night, raking and pruning. By the time I returned to town, my landlord had to assist me through my door, while I struggled to lock it with my keys. I was absolutely exhausted when I reached my bed. If only I had more time to sleep. It wasn't like I had anything important to do today. The crown prince would be arriving soon, followed by his pompous royal procession of sugary delights. Chocolate, caramel, cotton candy, and of course licorice. All of his loyal court subjects alike parading behind him as the vanilla villagers oohed and awed at the rare spectacle. My eyes rolled, imagining the silly affair. The crowd was gathering now. I could hear the clamors as they filled the streets. Even as I tried to pull the bed covers over my head, their noise continued to build, getting louder and louder, to the point where it became extremely vexing. Ah! I threw my covers off. Quickly I marched over to my bedroom window, slamming it open with a bang. In the name of the three sugary fairies, what's causing all this commotion? I looked down at the crowd below. The streets were filled with people now. They shouted their delights as their fingers pointed toward a certain direction, nearly 5 or 10 blocks down. My curiosity budded as I squinted my eyes for a better look. Their attention was drawn to a particular spot in the crowd. It was a black figure, very distinct for the eye to see. No. Wait. That couldn't be. I rushed out the door. It's her! It's her. The witch? People moved out of my way as I approached. A few of them stared in curiosity while others moved away quite bluntly just to evade me. I had to admit their fright was quite upsetting. I didn't like being treated like I had some scarlet letter labeled on my back. Every little whisper of the word witch was a sharp jab to my guts. Stay with Mommy, don't go near the witch. I ignored them the best way I could. Only a while later did the crowd's tension finally ease off, coming to terms with the diminishing space in the streets. Little by little they moved back in, and the empty space around me disappeared. I regretted my earlier thoughts. Look, the prince! Everyone's head turned toward the far end of the road. A large entourage of guards and courtisans alike were coming through. My eyes were glued to the center of the approaching group. I had to see him. Whether or not he was the prince, I had to get a glimpse of that mysterious stranger again with my own eyes. Finally, they parted and a black figure revealed himself from the crowd. Oh, the suspense is killing me. I want to know so bad. Crowned with a small white coronet, a head of black licorice hair, and I can't speak. That's him! Licorice hair uncovered itself for all to see. Prince Lassender? Prince Lassender! Your Highness! The prince smiled graciously to all the vanilla villagers, but something else caught my attention entirely. He had a fine pair of ruby-red eyes, the same ones from the gardens, the same which would belong to that mysterious stranger of last night. My mind blanked. Before I could steal another glance, his head turned my way. Red eyes caught mine, and immediately the spark of recognition ignited. Well, well. He changed his direction, heading towards my general vicinity. The crowd went wild, waving their hands fanatically for a glimpse of His Royal Highness as he continued to make his way through the crowds, and guards separated a cluster of people to let him through. Surely the crown prince must be preoccupied with another matter entirely, and surely an interesting spectacle snagged his attention from this general direction. Surely! In the back of my mind, I try not to think about the possibility of him coming toward this area simply because of me. It was just not possible. Oh, calm down, okay? But as he continued to make his way through, he was slowly closing the distance between us. His eyes were glued to mine and mine to his, but my mind refused to register what happened next. The Licorice King halted to a stop. My first assumption was that he probably wanted to inquire with somebody behind or otherwise near me, but his attention became entirely fixed on me alone. Spectators looked on in surprise and confusion, questioning why the crown prince would want anything to do with some peasant girl, or more suspiciously a witch. He ignored their agitation. All of a sudden the prince bent down to his knees. He took my hand in his, planting a kiss on my fingertips. So good to see you again, milady. Everybody dropped dead silent. Say nothing. No words came to mind. Awkward silence continued to prolong. The prince released my hand. Soon after, disappointed by my lack of response, how was I? Oh no! With a long swish of his cape, he turned to leave. Again! The guards swarmed around him once more, and he disappeared into the street. Everyone's eyes were on me now. What does he want with her? The little witch? I gulped. Today was going to get more awkward. I don't think that's too bad, okay? Have you heard about the kidnappings? They said it was pirates. Why would taffy pirates come all the way to Strawberry Sugarlands? Let's hope they don't come any closer to the vanilla region. Shh! It's her! The gossip and chatter died when I drew near. Nobody dared move as they came closer, reaching for some appetizers on the buffet table. Taking a slice of vanilla pie, I walked away as quickly as I came. The guests returned to their mingling, and the garden party reception continued on without me. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're so scared of me, I fucking made this garden, alright? I did all this. So you're all cursed. Fucking idiots. Today, the town of Ville wanted to welcome the crown prince at the Vanilla Park Gardens with a grand reception. It was said that the prince would be giving the town a large contribution of the royal treasury in exchange of the water of Vanilla Lake. Of course, none of us knew why the royal crown would be needing such an age-decrepit landmark. The only significance about the Vanilla Lake was that it surrounded an old fairy tale legend about the last cherry princess who was said to have planted one golden seed in the depths of its water. Nobody believes in that old fairy tale legend nowadays, and it has been almost 1,000 years since the downfall of the Cherry dynasty, which most likely prompted the creation of the fairy tale. Now make sure this gets in the right hands. If anyone else finds out, it'll be on your head. Yes, Sir Colin. My ears packed up. Scanning the crowd, I spotted Colin conversing with a steward. Both of them looked very distressed. I inched closer, hoping to hear more of their conversation. For a brief moment, I could have sworn Colin's eyes met mine, fading away split seconds later. The voices dropped below a whisper. Both of them seemed engrossed in their conversation. Interesting. Then they left. Nessie! I jumped, turning around. Colin was right behind me. Colin, How did you get here so fast? Enjoying the party? Yes. My vision glanced over, remembering the events from yesterday. It was still too early for us to have a normal conversation without recalling the awkwardness of recent happenings. It looks like I'll be leaving. I looked up surprised. You're leaving? Now? Yes. Colin and I exchanged looks. Nessie, I want you to know, I still think of you as my friend. A very dear friend. His words stabbed me. Please, just go. Nessie, please! The sting of rejection revived, bringing back the humiliating memory of last night. I needed to be alone, and Colin saw that. Take care, Nessie. He patted my back as he walked away. Colin made his way down a short path, disappearing into the tall bushes. I waited to make sure he was really gone. Phew! That was awkward. People continued to stare. I didn't like being the center of attention, but I must admit there was a change in the atmosphere ever since this morning, and I liked it. People were revealing me in a new light now, and instead of the witch, I was the girl the Crown Prince took notice of. That's her? Doesn't she work here? Shouldn't she be helping His Highness around the garden? What a pretentious girl. His Highness bent down to his knees. Her knees, probably. I looked around for the nearest attendant. One stood yards away, holding a tray of goblets. He was pouring wine, which meant he probably opened a fresh bottle not too long ago. I hurried over to him. Excuse me, may I have a... Of course, miss. He handed me a large goblet of blood cherry. Making sure not to spill any of the precious beverage, I balanced the drink carefully in my hands before heading toward the large crowd at the far end of the park. Excuse me, excuse me. People shot glaring looks and irritated faces at me as I pushed my way through. But I didn't have time to care. I needed to see the prince. The stubborn crowd refused to part as I stumbled the rest of the way through. They probably didn't want me to come any closer to the Crown Prince than I already have, but... Yes, my father is very pleased with... The licorice prince finally caught sight of me. Your Highness! I stepped up in front of him. Bowing my head, I held up my goblet as an offering. I am deeply sorry for my rudeness last night. Please accept this goblet of wine as my sincere apology. My hands trembled. Everyone's eyes were on me, and all waited anxiously for the prince's response. I was too afraid to move or say anything on that matter. Just when I thought he would brush away my offer, he smiled. There's no need to apologize, my lady. The prince pulled the goblet out from my trembling fingers. He lifted my chin with his other free hand, tilting my face up so I looked at him. Bloody cherry is my favorite. With a wide grin, the prince tipped the goblet to his lips. His tongue traced along the edge of the glass, savoring its taste as the wine poured into his mouth. He froze. Your Highness, is everything all right? The prince lowered the goblet. Oh shit, are we going... Don't pull a Jeffrey on us, man. His fingers trembled lightly as he reached up towards his throat. The look in his eyes became very desperate, and he opened his lips like he wanted to say something. Something very important. No sooner did he lose his balance completely, had he started wobbling. He struggled to find his footing. Then with a deafening thud, the prince collapsed. Everyone was silent. Then the crowd roared into a panic. What's happening? His Highness! His guards rushed forward, pushing me away. One quickly dropped down to the prince's limp form, checking his pulse. He observed the prince carefully before making a diagnosis. His Royal Highness has been poisoned! An audible gasp echoed throughout the gardens. All eyes shifted on me. Shit. This can't be happening. Seize her! The royal guards surrounded me. They captured me and bound my arms tightly in their grasp. I was completely immobilized. It's the witch! She must have done it! The witch gave him the poison, we all saw it! No, I didn't, I'm innocent! Where should we take her? We'll torture her if we have to. What, torture? Whoa, hold on. Hold the phone. Everyone just calm the heck down. The first person to leave before he drank the poison is the person who did it, which was Colin. No, I had to stop them. Wait, please, I'm innocent. My voice barely reached above the crowd. The guards started moving, taking me somewhere. I'll curse the prince! The royal guard stopped. Everyone waited for me to continue. Please, I'll find the cure. I can make an antidote for the prince for whatever poison he is intaken. I made medicine and antidotes for many poisons in the past. I can concoct one for the prince. It was a false promise, but I knew it was going to save my hide. And it was working. The guards stopped contemplating over what I said, but I could see they were still dubious of my proposition. How will we know if you're plotting to poison His Highness again? I'll test everything the prince will eat and drink before he even touches them. My eyes confirmed that promise, and the guards sensed the authenticity of my vow. But it was obvious they were unsure as to whether or not I could do it. Either way, I had no choice. We will be patrolling throughout the town, and personal guards will be assigned to you, following your every step. If the prince dies before you find a cure, the king will have your head, and rest assured, we will find you. They released me. I was roughly dropped to the ground as the guards moved away, barely giving me enough space for me to stand. That didn't matter though. The guards and the public were far more concerned over the prince's welfare, and their attention were completely engrossed on His Highness. The prince lay limp and cold on the vanilla cobblestone pavement. He wasn't going to last very long. I had to save him. Well, we might have to save him next episode, because we're already clocking in, and I've run out of time, guys, so sorry for the shortness of what we did, and I had to redo that anyway. I hope you guys have a great day, great week, and I'll see you guys in the next episode and later on. Bye guys, and stay cool.